Okay, so today I wanted to talk with you guys about singers. What do you guys inherently value in a singer? Like, what is going to be most important for you to listen to a record? Who are your favorite singers to listen to? And what are your deal breakers in singing and just music in general? And having a longer conversation about that. Because I was talking to my friends and we were discussing SZA and Taylor Swift, and they told me that they think Taylor Swift is a better singer than SZA. I think that is absolutely ludicrous. I think that SZA is definitely a better singer than Taylor Swift. I was shocked that we even had that conversation. I thought that we would all agree that SZA was better, and then we would just move on. So I was surprised that there was kind of some conjecture about who is the better singer. And so, really quickly going into that, the reason why I think that SZA is a better singer than Taylor Swift is I think that she just has better tones. I think that her voice is just more pleasant to listen to a Taylor Swift. I think that she can do more with her voice than a Taylor Swift. And I feel like as a Taylor Swift fan, we all agree that we listen to Taylor Swift for her songwriting and not for her vocals. And I don't understand why some Taylor Swift fans try to act like her vocals are as good as her songwriting or her vocals are better than they really are. I think that we have to be realistic with ourselves. And so I listen to Taylor Swift because I love pop music. I love great records. 1989 is one of my pop Bibles. I love stuff like A Shake It Off, A Blank Space, Wildest Dreams, I Know Places. I love her alternative stuff like Folklore was a great album with stuff like The Last Great American Dynasty, Cardigan, Invisible String. I loved Midnights with stuff like Hits Different and Maroon. Begin Again is one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. I also love The Best Day. So I really know my Taylor Swift. So for me, it's more of a songwriting thing. I think that Taylor Swift can carry a tune. Don't get me wrong. And I can appreciate her music for what it is. But Taylor Swift is not that great of a singer. Taylor Swift has definitely improved from where she started, but if we're just talking about the best singers of her generation or the better singers of today, then Taylor Swift is not in that conversation. It's okay to recognize that and to appreciate what she brings into music in large. And I know that some of you guys might say, oh, SZA does all this enunciation. You can't really tell what she's saying and blah, blah, blah. And I understand that, whenever I first listen to a SZA song, I have no idea what she's saying. I go look up the lyrics, I learn it, and then, I enjoy it. SZA has had some live performances that haven't been the best, and, it is what it is. I think she's improved. When I saw her live, she did what she needed to do. And I will say that Taylor Swift is a lot of times off key on the record, and even live is not particularly the best. So, yeah, they both have their strengths, they both have their weaknesses, but if you're asking me who's the better singer, then I think that it's SZA, and I don't even think that it's up for debate. If you wanted to have a conversation about songwriting, I think that that's a lot more interesting of a conversation to have, but it's kind of unfair in a sense because Taylor Swift has a lot more material than SZA to talk about that, but I think that that's more of a conversation worth having than singing. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments on that conversation, and even if you want to talk about songwriting, I think that it's interesting. And so on to the bigger point of the conversation, just talking about vocals at large, singers versus vocalists, and all those kinds of things. So for my perspective, my favorite singer of all time is Mariah Carey. She is one of the best singers of all time. I Don't Care, and A Song Like Emotions kind of cemented her in that because, her range and her whistles, I think that she has a great tone, great agility, musicality. Like Mariah Carey really has it all. A lot of singers would not be singing if it wasn't for Mariah Carey, so she's my favorite. I also love a Whitney Houston, a Celine Dion, Aretha Franklin, Beyonce, Brandy I feel like is underrated. So those are just some of my favorite singers to listen to. If we're talking about male vocalists, I really like Michael Jackson, Luther Vandross, Stevie Wonder, stuff like that. And so for me, I don't think that singing is the most important thing for a record. I think that you have to be able to have good tones. I think that you have to be able to hold a note. Like if you constantly sound like you're off key on the record, if it sounds like it pains you to sing, if I just don't like your range and what you bring to the record, then I'm just not going to listen to it. I'm sorry. Some singers that I don't really go up for, I think Mick Jagger is so overrated. I don't get the hype. Bob Dylan, I think, was a horrible singer. And yes, he can write, but his voice, absolutely not. And that's why Adele ate him up on Make You Feel My Love. And I'm going to get into Madonna's discography this year. I'm not looking forward to it because I think that her tone is absolutely atrocious, and people keep trying to tell me that, she's better. Maybe I'll come around to that, but what I've heard, it's not looking good. It's not. And I'm going to be honest about that. Madonna wrote hits, but the vocals, they could be a lot better, and we have to be serious about that. So that's kind of a standpoint there. As long as you can hold a tune, that's what's most important to me. So that's why I can appreciate a Taylor Swift, even though I recognize that she is not a strong vocalist. I like Fiona Apple for sure. So those are some ones that kind of fall into that standpoint for me. And so what I value is being able to hold a tune and also just having great songwriting and great production to back that up as well. And just, having something that just makes you stand out overall. And especially stage presence, I think is interesting. But I mean, if we're just talking about the record, then yeah, those are things that I value. But some people people, they feel like if you don't have a voice like a Mariah, like an Adele, I'm not going to listen to you. And that's why some people don't go for Taylor Swift, because some people feel like Taylor Swift is just mediocre. And if you don't like Taylor Swift as an artist, it's one thing. I just respect other people's opinions, and we can keep it moving. But yeah, it's just interesting to see what some people value and some people don't. Because some vocalists that get held up in a high regard, I think are really overrated. I don't get it. Some vocalists that I like or singers that I like, people wouldn't be into. And depending on the singer, I can see where they're coming from. I inherently don't get why you wouldn't like a voice like Mariah Carey, a voice like Whitney Houston. I don't get that. I get why you wouldn't like a Fiona Apple or Taylor Swift. So I think that's really just up to personal preference and whose songs you like the most, and the story and the production and all those things definitely tie in. But I think at the end of the day, you have to be able to sing to a certain degree. Some people can't sing. Some people got to use a bunch of autotune like J-Lo, and have to have other people sing your songs, because you can sing and steal other people's vocals and not give credit. But I digress. And so, yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Who are some artists that you listen to? Who are some artists that you think are the gold standard in terms of singing? What do you value in singing? What do you not? And just, I kind of want to have the larger conversation on that. But I thought it was really interesting to talk about.